The Cab Calloway Institute for Creativity, Self-Esteem, and Entrainment. Entrainment being the time when the two halves of your brain are in synchronicity with each other. The Cab Calloway Institute for Creativity, Self-Esteem, and Entrainment presents an innovative educational initiative aimed at establishing a teaching artist in residence program. Now, instruction uses singing bowls, meditation, binaural technology, practical stress reduction techniques, and indigenous-inspired principles and philosophies to serve as a gateway to help rediscover some of the fundamental understandings of our essence that have been lost in modernization. By offering impactful coping skills and emotional regulation techniques, we empower individuals with new and powerful tools to address and overcome these societal issues, such as the mental health stigma, which prevents individuals from seeking help and support, violence and crime, which have to be tied to emotional regulation, health disparities, which also feed into violence and crime, but they are a major societal problem. Trauma and healing. Trauma has long-lasting effects on mental health and well-being, and it's a problem, and it's feeding into the violence and crime, as is educational inequality. All students need stress reduction techniques. They need to know how to focus better and control their emotions to really succeed. Homelessness and displacement is a societal problem. And yet even temporary respite from these hardships can contribute to overall well-being. And finally, community cohesion. People feeling disconnected, lost, alone, fear of missing out, desperate. The solution. With a teaching artist in residence, as an example, 3 one-hour sound baths are conceived. One for the morning, which could be entitled Self-Discovery and Adventure. The second for the afternoon, Passage to Inner Knowing. And the third for the evening, The Quest for Clarity. But the point is that the sound baths are offered to the public regularly so that people know they can come to your facility to receive vision and insight. This might be accompanied by a virtual reality exhibit, a kind of a shell that people can get into to experience entrainment. And finally, an institute, which offers classes, training, and symposia. So the public comes to the museum, they receive a sound bath, they get instructions in stress reduction, and they have an institute to support their learning and sharing. Now, how does a sound bath work? Initially, a sound bath begins with an expression of gratitude. We all begin to breathe in order to ground ourselves. And the breathing is not like the breathing we normally do, but it's a slow breathing, to help take control of the body. And after achieving a state of entrainment, we go into deeper relaxation or meditation using binaural beats and progressive relaxation techniques. At this stage, we are programming the mind, providing visualizations and positive images and frameworks and instructions to help people going forward. And finally, we transition out, reflect on what we shared together and how to integrate it. It's a minimum of 60 minutes, can go to 3 hours, 2 hours, maybe the sweet spot, 90 minutes. Sound bath overview. It is unique. We are meshing technology like virtual reality and binaural beats with ancient practices like singing bowls and indigenous recitations. It's transformative, a non-invasive, non-pharmacological, inexpensive, effective, easily transferable mental health solution. It's tested. Phasic dopamine bursts reduce cortical noise in the brain, proven at the Leiden University in the Netherlands. And it's visionary. We are combining techniques and wisdom from around the world for the health, safety, well-being of our community. There are many benefits to sound bath. Enhanced well-being, engagement, cultural enrichment, emotional awareness, meaningful change. We partner together to do something tangibly good for the community. Social equity and inclusion. Powerful, positive thinking solutions are always in demand. But who can afford Tony Robbins and Les Brown if you don't have any money? Collaborative partnerships with schools, government, police officers, nurses, anyone who could benefit from relaxation techniques on demand to enhance creativity, intuition, and sensitivity. Returning to those indigenous elements, it is like a vision quest, which is the fundamental Native American ceremony for a young person. Around puberty, you would spend 3 days and 3 nights in the forest all alone. No food, no water, by yourself. On the 4th day, they would come to get you. And as you return to your family and the tribe, everyone would ask just one question. What did you see? And having done a vision quest, which is similar to what the sound bath experience is, it is the sounds that illuminate, that give light to the vision. And thus, the sound bath experience. Imagine a magical sound machine that makes beautiful and gentle sounds that causes your mind to look inward with focus and relaxation. It creates entrainment, which is when the mind synchronizes with itself. Yet, we take it one step further to help people synchronize with the natural environment. But this seeing with the mind relates to imagination, creativity, and education. This is an opportunity to empower people to take control of their own well-being. After reorienting our relationships with the mind The next step is simply using these techniques for long-term well-being. For just as a balanced and healthy diet provides essential nutrients to fuel the body, so do emotional regulation, awareness, mindfulness nourish our human experience by promoting appreciation. So we're talking about 3 products. The sound bath experience, which can go from 1 to 3 hours, an audio concert, which is meant to be enjoyed horizontally, but doesn't have to be. Stress reduction technique class. This runs from 4 to 8 hours. And finally, the virtual reality storytelling workshop. As we create autonomous, immersive entrainment experiences, we can begin to ask questions both before and after to hear about the experience, the stories of what people experience. Why Cab Calloway? Well, he combines the creativity, self-esteem, and entrainment in one career that is from Baltimore, and it also helps that he was my grandfather. But he came from Sandtown, Winchester, Druid Heights area, which is the largest, one of the densest concentrations of African Americans anywhere in the world. And he helped define community for the music industry by establishing trends and protocols that are still used today after almost 100 years. He was an architect of the Harlem Renaissance, and he enjoyed a 70-year career. Creativity in music, dance, animation, radio, magazines, television, movies. He was the author of a dictionary and another book. He was a true luminary. He was a creative improvisational specialist who helped introduce call and response and possessed a frenetic, otherworldly energy level. He was an authentic American of ambiguous race who was filled with mystery. Self-esteem. In just 2 years after leaving Baltimore in shame for getting my grandmother pregnant, Cab Calloway was auditioning for some of the greatest venues in the world, the Savoy Club Ballroom in New York and the Cotton Club. He leveraged his Baltimore experience to approach each challenge in his career with a certain confidence and a matter-of-factness. And his grandfather before him, Andrew Reed, was an incredible civil rights leader in Baltimore just after the Civil War. And finally, entrainment. By his effort in breaking the proscenium arch between the spectator and entertainer, Cab Calloway promoted brain synchronization by insisting that the audience work with the band and the singer to make the songs and even the show work. And so, if we are to take from what is left from these rich legacies and build upon them to leave the best possible future for our children, then we must take advantage of this opportunity to reignite our first principles. For within them are a source of inspiration, synchronicity, and humanism, which we seem to have lost. Here is our chance to literally go back to the future, by reorienting and resynchronizing our mind to the natural world. Some of the things that people have said, Irving Gaither wrote, "I learned a number of new techniques that were astounding, that made me feel more grounded, secure, and serene, even though I thought I was already in a good place." Dr. Maria Spren, "The sound bath was a wonderful journey that left us relaxed and refreshed. A perfect event for diverse participants with little or no experience with this type of event." John Logan wrote, "Music is the medicine of the mind." And Aaron Jones, "The mantras, prayers, and music you offer are empirically proven. But beyond that, they offer participants a connection to spirituality and divinity born of joyful sensation and communion with each other." Mantras, prayer. The Cab Calloway Institute for Creativity, Self-Esteem, and Entrainment. Entrainment being the time when the two halves of your brain are in synchronicity with each other. The Cab Calloway Institute for Creativity, Self-Esteem, and Entrainment presents an innovative educational initiative aimed at establishing a teaching artist in residence program. Now, instruction uses singing bowls, meditation, binaural technology, practical stress reduction techniques, and indigenous-inspired principles and philosophies to serve as a gateway to help rediscover some of the fundamental understandings of our essence that have been lost in modernization. By offering impactful coping skills and emotional regulation techniques, we empower individuals with new and powerful tools to address and overcome these societal issues, such as the mental health stigma, which prevents individuals from seeking help and support; violence and crime, which have to be tied to emotional regulation; health disparities, which also feed into violence and crime, but they are a major societal problem; trauma and healing. Trauma has long-lasting effects on mental health and well-being, and it's a problem, and it's feeding into the violence and crime, as is educational inequality. All students need stress reduction techniques. They need to know